How to fix a dryer that will not stay on after pressing start. Hello and thank you for stopping by. Today I will show you how I diagnose why a dryer starts and then stops, and what to do if your dryer stops working. So let's get started with this appliance repair. This is a GE front load dryer that we're repairing today. So let's hit that start and see what happens. Put it on one of the settings. Hit some of these dryers will have a push button. This one has a knob to turn. We can hear it running, then it stops. Running, then it stops. So we know the motor's working. Now let's check to see if the drum is spinning. This washroom is real tight quarters, so I can smell the heat. It's making heat. So what I'm going to do now is to turn that knob, hold the door safety switch, and to see if this tub spins. Put this camera down. I believe I had it set up. All right, this tells me what I need to know. Generally, when this dryer won't spin, it's one or two things. Either it's a broken belt or a faulty switch that's underneath. Now, when I held the switch in and held the knob on top, it stayed running. When I let go of the safety switch, it stopped. So we know the safety switch is working. To take this dryer apart, this is a GE. Most of the models are the same. Some are a little different. There's two screws right in the front. I don't know if this camera's picking that up. There's one back in here and one over here. Once you take these two screws out, and to speed up this video, I've already taken them out off camera, you have to take this lid off. Now on some of these, you'll have to remove the screws that are on top of the control board, and this board will just flip back. On this one here, all I have to do is lift it and pull it out. So let me get that. First the two screws have to come out, then you just give it a lift and then wiggle it out. Now if you're having trouble getting the lid off, remove the screws in this control panel and it'll come right out. All right, got the lid off. Here's where it starts getting interesting. Now we can see the belt is missing. This is where the belt generally would go. You can see the marks out of here. The light's picking it up nice. There isn't any belt. Now to put a new belt on, we have to remove this front cover. And like I mentioned, it's really tight in here. Let me see what I can do here. Okay, to remove this front cover, this unit has Phillips screws. Sometimes you'll have screws that have a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch head on it, but in this case they're Phillips screws. So I'm going to get a screwdriver and take this screw out and come and remove this screw. What I forgot to mention, a very important step. Before you take this top off or remove this lid, unplug the unit. Make sure it's unplugged before you do any of this. Okay, now these two screws are out. This just pulls right out. Take note for when you have to reinstall this. There's this tab over here, and then we have the notch where it's going to go into. All right, on the bottom we have these control wires. Now I've done this where I left the wires together, or if you're going to pull the door out further, just disconnect them. It's not a big deal to disconnect these. And while you're down here, take a look at this. This is such a faulty design, and all these units are the same way. There is absolutely no way to clean this lint out without taking this unit apart. This is off topic, but I actually had a unit one time that I thought had a blown motor. So I took it outside, crushed it up, and I said, you know what? Let me take this apart and see what makes this tick. Well, come to find out, after I destroyed the unit, this motor wasn't blown. The fan was completely full with lint and it couldn't turn. So when you turn the unit on, you would hear it hum, just like a unit that had a blown motor. I learned my lesson on that one. But this over here, it's been 2 years since I took this apart. I have a video up above the first time I did this, and it was the same thing. It was the belt that went. Now this unit gets a lot of work. We have a lot of throw rugs that get dried off in here, and it really beats these units up. It's rough on commercial units, let alone a house unit. Yeah, you find a lot down in here. All right, now to put the belt on, it's not necessary to take this tub out. You could just get the belt and flip it over the top and shimmy it back. But for the sake of this video, to show you how the belt goes, because it's hard to video it underneath, I'm going to try to get the camera under there and see if I can position it so you can see what I'm doing, but that might not happen. The last time I did this, I had a different camera and I was able to position it a little better. But in this case, I'm going to pull this tub out just to show you what it looks like back there. And that switch I was telling you about that could be faulty, where that switch is located. I don't know if any of you remember these. They're ancient. Okay. Oh, and one other thing here. I'm going to remove this screw and this screw here. And the reason I'm doing that, the last time I worked on this unit, I had to bend this out a little bit to get the tub out. And I had a hard time lining this up with the top. So to avoid that problem, I might just have to take the one out. I'm going to pull the screw out, and once it's out, this barrel or tub will slide right out. The only thing that's holding it back is this little lip right now. So let me get that out and I'll show you what I have. Okay, just to show you what we have, this is what the back looks like. Okay, you have this bearing over here. When you put it back in, it simply goes right into there. Now see this dust over here? I'm going to clean this up, and you want to be careful. Let me put this light down. I have to do something better with this lining here. You have to be careful you don't break these coils. If you break one of these coils, you're not going to get any heat. These coils are repairable. I know because I repaired them once. I had one that snapped. I simply stretched it out, spliced it together. Worked for years after that. Anyway, here's where the problem is. Here's where that belt got all chewed up. Look at that. Okay. You can see all the rubber down here. As far as the lint, this isn't that bad. This is mostly the rubber from the belt. But the last time I had this apart, this thing was covered in lint. I have the, if you want to see, I have a link to the old video up above, similar to this. And I'm not going to have to pull this motor out. The last time I pulled this motor out to clean the lint that was in here. But I think we're looking okay. I see some. I'm gonna put a coat hanger in there and see if I get much out. If I get big globs of lint out of there, then what I'll do, I'll pull this motor out and clean up, because the only way to clean this is from behind over here. Or maybe you could take it apart on this end. I don't know. But the last time I pulled the motor out, because there was just so much lint all in here. So I'm going to clean this up, and then I'll show you how to, oh, the switch. That's what I forgot. There we go. Back in here, this is going to be tough. Those are the dirt. Back in here is the switch. Once I clean it up, we'll get a better view of it. And the way this works, when the belt is on, it's pulling tension on. Hear that click? Listen to the click. Hear it? When that click is there, that switch will let the current go to the motor, to spin the motor, and the belt will be turning. If the belt is gone, that switch can't turn. Now I see the problem. Look at this. We have a broken pulley. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to have to see if I can have another pulley on hand, because this is what probably chewed up the belt right here. See this? If the belt got caught up in there, it would just cut it right up. Just like the pulleys on the lawnmower, pulleys have to be right. I know I had one from an older unit. I don't know what I did with it. This is one of those things that you hoard for years, and you have it, and then when you need it, where did I put it? Oh, that's right, I threw it out. Okay, let me see if I have another pulley, and this is on hold until I can find one. If I can't find one, I'm going to have to order it and wait for that pulley to come in. Oh, and I did get the belt. Now, the belt I picked up, I got off Amazon. I have the link for this belt down below. It may fit your unit. If not, just put the number of your dryer in to make sure you're ordering the right one. And if you would like to help the channel out, anytime you order from one of the links I have down below, or if you go to my Amazon storefront, anything you buy off there, whether I have it listed or not, if you buy it within 24 hours of clicking on it, I get a small commission on some of the items. There isn't any additional cost to you, and the commissions I get from there still help me to keep producing these videos. So let me go see if I have another one of these pulleys, and we'll be back. As I mentioned earlier, I believe it's this idler pulley that was the cause of that belt failure. That belt was only 2 years old. See this chip in here? It was just cutting into that belt until it finally gave. Now, I mentioned that I had one of these, and I remember distinctly taking one of these out a while back out of a dryer that I was taking to the dump, because I was going to use it for something that I never used it for. And for the life of me, I can't find it. But what I did find, I have another dryer outside that I was stripping the metal off of. And this is a GE. That other dryer was a Whirlpool, and it had a whole different setup. It didn't have a bar like this. It actually had a bracket, and the pulleys are different. Now, the pulleys are the same size and diameter, but there's a big difference. This one has a large flange over here, and I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not, because it looked like the belt was riding on this side of the pulley, not the high flange side. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference. Another big difference, the diameter of this hole was larger than the diameter of this pulley. This has a bushing that only goes part way through. This has a bushing that goes all the way through. So I drilled it out to the same diameter, but when it comes to this point over here, this pulley could go right into the bend without jamming up, and I don't believe the pulley goes that far. Once the tension's on it, I think it'll stay in place. This one, even though I drilled it out, I was having an issue with it. I'm going to use the higher lip to the inside of this setup, like this, where on the original pulley, the higher lip was towards the outside, and I'm going to have the belt run on this side of it over here. So what I did, this side over here, I drilled just slightly bigger, not all the way through to this side. I used the next size drill bit up, but I didn't go all the way through, just so if it does slide over, it doesn't jam up. What was happening when it slid over to this part before, it would jam up. Now it's spinning freely. And this pulley, you can see, is a lot wider than the original pulley. I don't know how this might work. This is a little bit higher on this end than this one here. If you take the full circumference of this pulley, it might be a 32nd of an inch, maybe a little bit more. I don't know if that's going to make that much of a difference on the belt, but we're going to try it. The worst that can happen, it's not going to work right. I'll have to order the original pulley, and when it comes in 2 days, I'll replace it. But for now, I'm going to use this pulley off the discarded dryer. So let me get this together and finish cleaning up the mess down there, and then we'll see how she works. Okay, before I install this, I just want to give you a better look at where that switch is. On this unit, it happens to be right back here, right at the tip of the screwdriver. That black piece on the bottom, that's that switch. So it's either one or two things. It's either the switch or the belt. In this case, it was the belt. And the way you could check this is that you could disconnect the wires on both ends and check it with a continuity meter. And when you trip the switch, see if you have continuity going to it. So now let's get this together. We have the pulley assembly. Let's see. And if you're doing this on the shoe, there's a little tear back here where that L piece goes into. And it just sits like this. This is it. Now I'll show you how the belt goes on. The numbers are WE12M29. And I'll have this in the description down below. Let's set up this camera again for you. Okay, and the way this belt goes is that there's grooves on one side of it. The groove part goes around the barrel. And it has to hook onto the motor and this pulley. And this pulley gives it the tension. So it goes up like this, and when it goes around the barrel, I'm showing it to you like this without the barrel in it because I don't know if I'm going to be able to record it with the camera once I have it all together. There isn't any room to work over here, and I'll be working by putting my hand into, underneath, and it's pretty difficult to video it. So let me get that barrel. The bearing in the back of the barrel just goes right in here. That's really the only thing that's holding it on. Let me get that drum and we'll get a better view. All right, I was having a lot of trouble getting this belt on. I don't recall how I did it the last time, but I don't remember having this much trouble. So I took a different tack. I removed that door altogether. I disconnected the vent line, and I leaned the dryer back against the wall. And the reason I did that is because I'm working on the ground and I don't have much clearance. And I couldn't video on how I was getting this done. Let's see if I can show you, get the camera down in there, what it should look like. Okay, you see it? Now, the belt is going around that pulley. I had the hardest time getting that pulley all the way down to where it had to go. And my arms just don't fit. These are two locations you have to get your arms in there. My arms aren't that big, and I couldn't get my arm to work right in there. And this opening over here, which, I don't know, I just couldn't get to it. But by leaning it against the wall, it gave me a little bit more leverage. Plus, it kept the tank from coming down. I was even trying to use bungee cords to hold the rim of this up. Nothing was working. So this is the tack I took. I pointed out earlier that you have these slots where the tabs for the door go in. And on the bottom, there's these little hooks. So when you put the front back on, you got to make sure you're connecting it to there. I'm going to put these two screws back in. I'm going to get the door back on. We're going to turn this tub, make sure everything's sitting right. We'll put it back together, plug it back in, and then we'll see what we have. Okay, I have it all together. And once you have it together, before you start it, you want to turn the tub. And you want to make sure this belt is flat all the way around and that it's even. Once you check it out and you see that the belt is flat all the way around, it's not twisted, and the tub is rolling freely, then we turn it on. Now let's see. Put it on the setting, go to start. That's it. And that noise that you hear are those two balls that are bouncing around in there. We have heat. The barrel spins. It stays on. Safety switch works. Just have to put that lid back on. It's all set to go. And another point, you might want to wear gloves when working on this. There's a lot of sharp edges. I didn't mention that earlier. I went through the whole tear down and repair without any cuts, and I just got nipped now. Well, that's a wrap. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with someone else who may be able to use it. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. Hit that Joe Z icon. And not to miss my new videos as I upload them, be sure to ring the bell. Until next time, stay safe.